Yeah, we will start. Is the audio coming? I don't know whether you'll be able to. Anyway. So, we saw the first part of chapter 16, Asuri Sampath. As I was saying last class, this chapter is not a notional idea. It portrays in fair amount of detail most of the assumptions with which we seem to live, a number of us seem to live. This chapter actually brings that. That is why I think we should read this chapter with more interest. We should reflect. The slokas are very, I don't know how, many of the things that we are doing are so well written in this chapter. I think it is very important for us to reflect on some of these slokas. Last time when we met, I said that if you read the entire Puranas, the Idihasas and the two Idihasas, the Puranas, the Upapuranas, lot of stories that are part of it, I said there is a clear structure. So I just showed a 6-part structure. Today what I will do is I will take from Ramayana and fit it into the 6 parts. Otherwise the 6 parts remain as 6 parts. It is a very interesting framework. So I want to do it. Because it is one thing to say Puranas have it. Another thing is to also demonstrate it a little bit. Only then we understand how valuable these Puranas are. Because they all match with this chapter. So we will do that. Maybe 15-20 minutes we will spend on that. And then continue with the slokas. So last time I said there is a 6-stage process in which this Asuri Sampath will lead anyone. This is to me it's a very universal framework. Now the intensity of how much it will happen is all a function of how much of Asuri Sampath we actually brought to the table. The difference is only there. The structure is fairly... So, first step in this destruction process is develop enormous strength through tapas. Tapas is, without tapas, nobody can acquire anything, good or bad. Tapas is the basic thing required to acquire any skill, any strength. So, the Asuri Sampath starts with enormous strength, but along with that comes enormous ego also. So that is step 1. And the second step is to put that enormous power for wrong things. You get completely misinformed and misapplied of these great skills that you have acquired. So that is the second step in the process. So it is not dharmic indulgence, it is adharmic indulgence. Nobody can stop. Because nobody can stop because of the enormous power, which is step 1 of this 6th step. And naturally it leads to the 3rd stage, which is you start collecting your debit points, not credit points, curses. Because when you indulge in all that, I am reminded, there used to be a very famous Tamil speaker, Kripananda Warrior. He is very famous actually. So I remember once hearing his Ramayana. He says, these learned sages come to Ravana's court. I mean, in his own humor he says. The learned sages come to Ravana's court and they give him the akshata. So the sages, instead of saying Dirga Yushman Bhava, he says in his humorous way. They murmur within themselves, when is this fellow going to go? So he is bringing this idea in he used to say this in a very humorous way. The point is, getting curses is the way to fix one's own destiny. That's why evil people, evil acts fix their destiny. You don't have to, in fact, when evil things happen, a very wise person, a very mature person who understands this will not get bothered, because through the evil act, that person is actually fixing his destiny. Maybe sometimes it is a longer, the spell is a little longer, That's where we get a little worried. So that's the third step which happens. So once you cross the third step, you are actually no longer in the path of growth, in the path of destruction, because everything is ready now. You got enormous power and completely misused it. And having completely misused it, you picked up as much of curses that... So now all the curses have to become true now. So that is the second half of the story. In all Puranas you will see it. It will play out in its own way. So the destruction starts happening. Some early signs are there, but these people ignore it. That is what they say, Vinasha Kale Viparita Buddhi. When destruction happens, your buddhi also doesn't work. It doesn't even warn you. Something is happening wrong, wake up. No. The wake up call is there, but they don't wake up. So that is stage 4. Destruction begins, but they ignore all early signs. There are enough signs. Enough signs that shows. I found it in an unwitting way. I want to give you a small example. I consulted for a company 20 years back. Exactly 20 years back. 94. I consulted for a company. The problem in the company was it's electronics. Real, cutting edge electronics. So non-moving inventory will be very high because obsolescence, technology obsolescence is very high. Their problem was 40% of their inventory is not moving. They are useless. Non-moving inventory. No business can survive. So that's why the consulting I did. Both of us, 2 of us we did. So we went and talked to all the people. What we found was very interesting. There are so many signals coming from the market. There is one letter from their collaborator saying we are withdrawing this model for this reason. So somebody received the letter, they promptly filed it. Similarly, some other competitor did something which was discussed, but then somebody minuted the meeting and that's it. It's like that. So our job was actually very simple in that consulting, in a way. We collected all this information from different people and we said, do you have the letter? Do you have the... We collected all of them. We arranged and they were chronological order. So in about 9 months, they were told this will become nothing but non-moving inventory. Nobody has seen it. This is all we did. We collected all these different pieces of information, put it in a file, and when you give the file to anyone, anybody will say we should have woken up long back. So I am reminded of that when I saw these asuras, these bad people, so many signals come, they don't even take cognizance of it. Because that is this route to destruction. They don't take cognizance of it. Not that there are no signals. There are enough signals saying things are not going well. They either ignore or they abuse such advices or they rather punish the person who had the courage to say something wrong is happening. Puranas have all these stories. Yes, Vibhishana is a very well-known character, but there are some interesting characters even before that. Even after that, even Malayavan, who is the uncle of Ravana, in the Yuddha Kanda, he says something. He is brushing it aside. He is at the verge of getting killed. So all that happens.
You seem to see the properties of Rome. You had said Tamoguna.
Yes.
Will not allow you to see the...
Exactly. It is wonderful. It is Tamoguna. It simply blocks you. So it, denies you the reality. That is the Tamoguna. It denies you the reality, so you see something else. Then the destruction is imminent. That is when repentance. In fact, in Yuddha Kanda, from 60th Sarga, 112th Sarga or something is gone, over. Because Mandodari comes in the 114th Sarga and she recollects after Ravana is dead. So I think 60th Sarga to some 90th Sarga you will find there is a repentance. But it is too late. It's too late. But he doesn't get sleep, all those happens. Even I am using an example of Ramayana to say this. But that is the 5th stage, and then the aftermath is colossal. This structure is a very universal structure. Anybody who indulge in evil have to go through it. As I told you, it is only a matter of what is the degree of evil you engaged in, that much will be the degree of the destruction. So this framework is not wrong. It's all the intensity may vary from. So now let me take Ramayana and show all these, because every story has it. That is why I want to not just say and go. I will take Ramayana and show these 6 stages which this great person called Ravana. If you read Ramayana, Valmiki, the way he describes Ravana is fantastic. It's too great a person. But then he destroyed himself finally, because greatness was there, goodness was not there. Mere greatness does not take us anywhere. Asuri Sampath and Daivi Sampath, that is the difference. A shining Asura and a shining Daivi Sampath, the difference is both will be equal in greatness. Daivi Sampath is goodness, this is not goodness. That will be the real difference between the two. So let us see some examples here. Stage 1. If you look at Ravana's background, he becomes very well. In fact, all these Asura stories starts only like that. You may think these are all stories for time pass. They are all putting this framework behind us. They spend a lot of time. The tapas, most of them are very learned. The first phase is the most interesting phase. Enormous effort to develop skills, develop knowledge, develop power through tapas. All that happens. Make great efforts to get material riches. That's why this Ravana, every 1,000 years he knocks off one head and offers in the sacrifice. Now again, you don't look at it analytically. Don't say 10 legs, did he do plastic surgery or otherwise. That is not the idea here. The idea here, it is a symbolic thing to explain how much effort and concentration he has. That's all you must read. You should not say how is it possible to remove one head. So his brain is also 1/10. All the questions we should not ask. We should never ask such questions. These stories are all meant for a very intuitive and a very deep, reflective idea. So when you say 1 and 1,000 year also, don't really ask what is this 1,000 year. I think these are all very analytical way. We are too much analytical. That is where we are disowning our own literature. So don't worry about all that. What it is saying is, it is an index of the severity of his penance or his concentration. That is called tapas. They are all meant for that, to convey that message. So every 1,000 years he plucks one of his head and offers in sacrifice. So after 9 heads are plucked, when he is about to pluck the last head, so Brahmaji appears before him, and then as usual, as everybody asks, he says, I have to be immortal. And he says, no, immortal and all will not work. I will not. Then he gives him a boon in which he excluded Manushas. Valmiki says, Trinabhutaha Praninaha Manusyacha. That is what is the word he uses. Ravana thought Manushya can do nothing to me. So he was willing to exclude, give an exclusion clause in the boon. So that's where the first thing is planted there. So the Kinnara, Deva, all those are included, but not Naras, because throughout Ramayana, if you read Valmiki, he looks at Manusya is hopeless characters. That is how this whole Vyakti is going and searching its own destruction. So the boon was given, and in fact Mandodari's description in the Yuddhakanda talks about his greatness. She comes and cries in the battlefield when he is dead. That time she recollects some of the great things about this king. So this is the first part of this character. So he develops a vast measure of greatness. This is a measure of greatness. Greatness means extraordinary skills, extraordinary knowledge, ability. It only talks about the potential. It doesn't talk about the application. It talks about the potential to do things. The potential energy is very high. That's what greatness is all about. So great skills of managing people, commit the best resources for doing. All these are descriptions of Ravana you will find. Lavish sacrifices, dana and propagating Vedas, art. But Hanuman saw it when he came into Sundarakanda 4th canto, when he walks through the streets of Lanka, he could see so much of flourishing music, dance, art forms and so on, which is an indicator that he is capable of all that, encouraging all that. But the bad thing that happened was, with all that he acquired extraordinary ego. So the goodness quotient was removed. Greatness quotient is there. Goodness quotient is removed. This ahankara. In this chapter he talks about ahankara anyway again and again. That's one important element of Asuri Sampath. You must have a lot of ahankara. That's a good place marker for Asuri Sampath. So there are many. In fact, last class I talked about aho rupe maho dhairyam. I said if only he had dharma, He said he could have even controlled, Indra, he could have even ruled over Indra. And I showed that 49th Sarga and Sundarakanda. In 59th Sarga, when Rama sees him directly in the Yuddha Kanda, this is what he says. Aho Deepta Mahatejaha Ravanaha Rakshaseshwaraha Adityaiva Dushpreksho Rashmir Bhati Ravana. He is like sun. He is radiating like sun. What a character. This is what Rama is saying about Ravana. What a great character. He is radiating like sun. Suvyaktam lakshaye hi asya rupam tejas samavritam. What his, his valor and his brightness is something which is so great, which can be a point of focus. That's what he is saying. Devadana Viranam Vapuhu Naiva Evabidam Bhavet. Even the other people don't maintain the body like this person is maintain. It's all shining. This is what Rama is saying. Yadrisham Rakshasendrasya Vapuhu Yetat Prakashate. What a way this is shining. That's what Rama says. In 59th Sarga, in about 50 Sargas he is gone. In that span he see him for the first time directly. Until then he hasn't seen him directly. That's why Valmiki, whenever these characters see Ravana first, he makes these great descriptions. To tell there is greatness, no goodness. That's what is the message. Then with all this power, you indulge in adharma, not dharma. And there is any number. In fact, all his list of curses came only from then. There's Anaranya, who is one of the ancestors of Ikshvaku Kula. He says, one of my ancestors will come and kill you. There is a whole list. I'll show you all the list. These all happened at the early stages, when he was all, going and then, abusing the modesty of women all over. He tried all kinds of things. He collected a lot of, curses. 3-4 are mentioned. Even in Uttarakanda there are mention of curses. Uttarakanda is actually not chronological. Only up to Yuddhakanda is chronological. Uttarakanda is just a collection of, for example, Ravana's Janma and all those, Pulasya, all those are in Uttarakanda. So Uttarakanda is not chronological. Only from Balakanda to Yuddhakanda is only chronological. That is a sprinkled set of ideas. So there are some references even in Uttarakanda which are there. So lose control of all senses, go on a rampage and subdue everyone. No dissent, only pleasing things are told and heard. When Vibhishana, first of all, when he said in the 50th Sarga in Sundarakanda, Duta Vada, let us not do, first he gets irritated. Only then something happened to him and then he listened to him. First he was not happy when this was told to him. He's been like that throughout. And go to any level to achieve what is desired. And by definition of Rakshasa, this is the Asura part. Rakshasa is, unmindful of others' feelings, inflict violence on them. That is the definition of Rakshasa, which I was, sharing. So, yeah.
So this tapas, is it only rajas or is it beyond these?
No. Tapas is a mechanism by which you can concentrate your attention. In fact, Yajnavalkya Smriti, I actually quoted one last class. Mana indriyanam ekagriyam tapaha. Of all dharmas, that is the greatest dharma. That's why Yajnavalkya Smriti. So tapas is a skill. A skill of concept. It's like, tapas is like putting a mirror in front of a sun, focusing it on anything, which can even burn sometime a metal also, which cooks our food anyway in our mess. Our entire cooking is done only in this technology here. We have parabolic reflectors. So it is that concentration. So tapas, so it is, now in order to do tapas, correct, it is a certain mental makeup. Now tapas can come with a lot of rajoguna. See, activities are all resident in rajoguna. Use the same tapas and you can lower rajoguna and become sattva. That is another story. But the activity, intensity of activity, you need, without raja there is no activity possible. So that's the other part of it. But tapas is a very concentrated energy but this great energy must be concentrated. That activity is called tapas, actually. So there are many episodes in Balakanda, when in Rama Avatara, it is preceded by all these gods going to Mahavishnu and saying, this person is creating so much havoc. Nobody, every now and then he wants to knock down Indra. All those references are there in Balakanda 15th Sarga. All those are there. In Janasthana, when he came to take away Sita, Valmiki, the way he describes it, he says, Godavari stopped, stilled. So again, you cannot ask, how will a river stop? Because I should not understand it like that. It is all to tell how fearful. Wind stopped blowing. Wind stopped blowing. That's the kind of description you will see. When Ravana came to Janasthana to take Sita and go, that is the kind of description. In other words, all these are to tell he has become unstoppable. His mischief has reached measures which are beyond normal, beyond reasonable limits. Those are the descriptions. Many of them are there. I just one or two here. Then the next, some of the dialogues are also pointing to the same evil effects. This is in Sundarakanda when 19th Sarga Ravana comes into the Antapura, into the Ashokavana, and there is a conversation. So in which she says, Sita says, Swadharmo Rakshasa, Ravana says, it is perfectly okay for us to take away women, run away and rape them. Bluntly he tells to Sita, that is our rule. Take it or leave it. That's what he says. Swadharma hai rakshasam biru. Sarvataiva na samshaya. No doubt. Always it is like that. Gamanam va parastrinam. He says, we will take them and go and do whatever we want to do. How dare he makes a statement like that? That is all, snippets of the evil of this character that you can see. And in fact, she laments. In the next sarga, she says, is there nobody who is well thinking here? Can nobody put a little thought in his mind, is what she asks. That's the next, that sloka. It says, Iha santaha va na santi. There are no santas here. That's what she is asking. Satova na anuvartise. Nobody will follow such practices. She says, what is happening here? Because she is very agitated by these kinds of pronouncements that this Ravaneshwara is making. These are all indicating how much of evil the good power he had, he is misusing it. That's what this story is all about. And then Hanuman's remarks about is Ravana in the Sundarakanda. There are many slokas. I just showed only Aho Dhairyam Aho Rupam, but he says if only he can use his power for right causes, it would have been much better. So that I already talked about it last class. So the second stage of this Asuri Sampath is, with enormous power you misuse the system, you be Adharmic, you can do anything that you want to do, you are unstoppable. So that's when the problem starts. So in his life story in Ramayana, you will find, I put some references here, in Yuddhakanta, all these are, he is starting thinking, these are all coming as reflection. He is thinking things are not going well. That's when all these thoughts of his Esther years come to him. So Anaranya, who is one of the descendant in the Ikshvaku Kula, he misbehaved with him, with her, and she said, one of my descendant will come and kill you. That's one curse. So he thinks, is this Rama that? That's what he is thinking. Then this Vedavati said, I will come to make you run. Then he asked, is this Sita Vedavati? All these questions are there. These are all the curses, reference to the curses. And then, this is the Kubera, that particular episode out of which this curse comes. What is her name? There is one episode. Kubera, Ramba Nala Kubera episode is here. This is one more episode in which he again tried to abuse the modesty of a woman, and she gave this curse. She said, your end will come on account of the opposite sex. So that is the curse she gave. I don't remember the character. That is in Uttarakanda. It's not in these first 6. It's in the 7th. And then Nandi gave a curse. Once he was going to, there are stories around it. Nandi gave a curse, monkeys will come and wipe off your entire family. That is one curse which you find in Yuddhakanda. Same, all of them are in the same chapter. You just see 60th Sarga. Because Ravana is now seeing things are not going the way it is. All his thoughts are rolling now. That way we are going back to the early stage of his life in the Itikasa. They're all in the 60th Kanda. You see many of the references. Then Ramba Nalakubera episode, again in Uttarakhanda. And he said that curse was, if you touch any lady without her concurrence, your head will blow. That's why he couldn't touch Sita. That's why he couldn't take her directly. He knocked off the whole piece of land and went. That's the story, no? That's on account of this curse.
That is more specific in Adharmic Ramayana.
I see.
There, you have to, because there is no possibility of Ravana touching Sita, so that the entire
Place is knocked off.
Knocked off. Along with the earth, he takes her, and he has no power.
So that comes out of this. Then Punchikasthala on her way to Brahma, she again, this fellow tried to abuse her modesty. She also gave one more curse. So all these curses are all now synergy. Synergy will start operating now because there are similar curses as given again and again. So the point is, this is the episode about Ravana. You read any Purana, you will find it. There is a set of conditions, and why are they coming? They are coming because you got enormous power, you misused it, you are going to get back. So it applies to us also. The intensity can be different, all that can be different, but this cannot be any different. That's why I want to share this. Then the destruction begins, and the destruction begins partly, it begins by not paying heed attention to some good advices. That is the first step in the destruction. And I have seen it in offices, in workplaces. I have seen this structure, albeit in a different kind of a magnitude and a context, but I have seen the same thing. I have seen in my own experience, I have seen similar things of a different magnitude. So listen to nobody, no good counseling possible. So Maricha actually in Aranyakanda, Janasthana, when Maricha is the one who used to play that trick, na? He was not ready. Actually, there are two minds for Maricha. Maricha was not ready, but Maricha was very happy to get killed by Rama. He was ready for it. He is a very transformed individual at that time. Unlike in Balakanda, when he came and created problem, when Vishwamitra's penance was going, Yajna was going. Here he is a different person. He is transformed. He is willing to get killed, but he is not convinced of what Ravana is doing. So he tries to advise him. He says, "Don't do it." He says, Ramo Vigrahan Dharmaha Sadhu Satya Parakramaha. You don't know whom are you playing with. Don't do that. Better you go away. He would not listen. In fact, he even tried to say, I don't know whether there is a sloka is there. He even said, I mentioned it last class. He even said, I will do. What you ask me to do, I will do. Because in the process, I will get killed. I am happy about it. But I will tell you, one poisonous snake which gets into a pond, in the effort to take the snake out of it, thousands of fishes will be killed. You don't know what you are doing. Thousands of good fishes which are innocent, which has nothing to do with this act, will get killed. That is what you are attempting. There is that entire sarga is a conversation where he gives several things and says, don't do it. It's not a good idea. He did not listen to it. Even in Yuddhakanda, the Malayavan, who is the grand uncle of Ravana, says, even before the preparation for the war, he says, this is a very divine personality, leave it. Give back Sita and leave it. No. He says, I will finish him off. Because he always felt low of Manushas. So he said, I will finish him, don't worry. Jatayu, when this person, Ravana, was taking Sita and going away, the Jatayu was trying to stop. Now look at this sloka. This sloka says, Sashti Varsha Sahasrani Mama Jatasya Ravana. I am 60,000 years old. Jatayu is saying, I am 60,000 years old, you are a bacha. Vriddhoham, Tvam Yuva, Dhanvi Sashara Kavachi Rati. You may have all these. You may have Kavacha, you may have all that, but you are a kid in front of me, is what Jatayu is saying. I am 60,000 years old, you are nothing. And he says, Tatap apyadaya vaidehim kushalina gamishyasi. You can't take and go. Don't think you can take her and go away. I will not leave. Anyway, it's a different story. Jatayu Jatayu fell to Ravana's, what that happened. That's a different story. But there was a possibility of a counseling. Don't do it. So like this, there are several episodes. So they start, people, when they stop or when they start ignoring good advices, it's a good indication their end is not too far away. It's a good indication. They don't see it. But it's a good indication the end is not too far away. Then completely get blindfolded. That means this is this tamasic, complete delusion. So almost the final act is written now. Finished. That's what happened to him also. See, Trinabhuta hite manye pranino manushadeha. This is what I was saying. Ravana always said, these manushas are all like grass. Trinabhuta. Good for nothing. What can they do to me? For a long time, whenever he talked to Sita, you know what kind of usages in Valmiki you will see? In Sundarakanda, the 19th Sarga, I didn't quote, Ravana says, your husband would not even be, he would be already prey to all the animals. He will not even have food to eat, he would have been dead by now. At another place he says, look here, Angulya nasamo ramo mama yudhe samanushaha. To Aranyakanda he says, he is not even equivalent to my Angulya, my thumb. Because he's a Manusha. He always thought these Purusha, the Manushas are good for nothing. That is where his destruction was planted, finally. Right? Yes, look at what he's saying. Oh, this fellow listened to some lady and ran away. He was chased away from the kingdom. This is the kind of usage Ravana makes about Rama. Look at what he says. Yaha striyaha vachanat rajyam vihaya sa suhrud janam. He listened to a lady, gave up the kingdom and all these people and then came. What kind of a person he is? He has no character. That's what Ravana always felt about Rama. Several references like that. Vane vasati durmati. He is, good for nothing. He is somewhere in the forest. What can he do? Is what he says. Durmati. He listened to somebody. This is a continuation of that sloka. He listened to some ladies and gave up the kingdom, and like an idiot he is wasting and languishing in the forest. That's what Ravana's idea of this character called Rama. So these are, people do this. They only plant their end. We don't need, the God works in its own ways like this. But then very late realization happens in Yuddhakanda, all that. He recollects all the curses much later, but the act is over. Already the act is over. See, he recollects all these, so many things he tries, none of them are working. Look at, what are all the tricks he played? He brought a dead Pratima of Rama, and then somehow he wanted to use some trick to win this. Even then, he wanted to win her. He knew he is losing. Before losing, he tried even more Adharmic things. That's what you will find. These are all showing that it's an act of desperation. It is an act in which I fully know I am on my way, but I'll try the last bit before I go. That kind of things you will see. Because he lost hundreds of warriors. Indrajit. Slowly when things are going, the desperation started too much. All these are doing all unheroic activities. He was a great personality. All his greatness evaporated towards the end of the war. All his greatness evaporated. Whatever little he had, everything evaporated. He became he was worthy of to be finished off. He led himself to that. That's what evil people do. The span of time may be more. And the aftermath is always colossal. That's what it is. Eko hi kurute papa kala pasha vashagataha nichena atma apacharena kulam te vinashyati. Because of one fellow doing a wrong thing, his entire kula will be, a much bigger expression of this is in Mahabharata. Just because of this Duryodhana's fixation on something, it's a massive cleanup which happened. It's much bigger. The two Itihasas have all these, common Puranas have all these. So that's what, here it says. Just because of one person, the whole thing is... This is what Maricha said. Akurvanto api papanaha shuchayaha papa samshrayat parapapa vinashyanti matsya grihad rudeyata. Just like these fishes are all caught unwittingly, that's how one mistake spills over other. Bahavaha sadavo loko yukta dharma anushtitaha paresham aparadena. Because of somebody else's aparada, not because of my aparada. Because of somebody else's aparada, vinashtaha. Nivashtaha every time. I think it should be vinashtaha. Sa parichataha. This is what will happen. Maricha was trying to counsel as much as possible to Ravana, don't do it. He gives several examples. This is another example. Don't do it. One bad act will spoil a lot of people. I think you are indulging something which will not be. It really happened that way. The effect was colossal. So this is a very generic framework. I don't think these Puranas are written just to make the story very attractive and reading all that. I think this is the idea. And this is the reason why this chapter exists. This is the reason why we should take serious cognizance of Asuri Sampath. All of us have Asuri Sampath and Daivi Sampath. This Asura Bhava and Daiva Bhava. We have to understand, if you leave it unchecked, where will it go? That is why this chapter is very, very important. All of them are related anyway to the guna. That's why it is linked to the guna. That's how this chapter is very, very important. It is not a notional chapter. It is a real chapter. And the kind of things we saw already last week, we will continue to see some more references which are to the point that you see today. Many of the things that are talked about we are able to relate it to today. So I think we should have the viveka. We should have a little discrimination to objectively and dispassionately reflect on some of the ideas in this chapter. So last time we saw up to I think 9th shloka we saw, where it started saying how are these people with this asura attitude, what are all the things they do in life. Now we will see what is their perspective about life, what is their approach to life, and where do they end up. That's what this chapter is. So we'll continue that story and see where it is taking us. So we saw up to the 12th shloka last time. So we will start from the 13th shloka. Idam adya maya labdam, idam prapsyase manoratam, idam asti, idam api me bhavishyati punardanam. So how do these people look at the world? They look at the world as nothing but an opportunity to make money. It's all about money. Idam adya maya labdam. I have got so much today. My gain is so much. You know, you do your detailed calculation, you pull out from this market, put it into this market, take it from there and put it into gold future. From there you take it and put it into some futures of something. Lots of people think we have to really bubble on money. That is the point he is making. Idam adya maya labdam. I have got so much today. That's what he says. I have got so much today. Idam prapsye. Prapsye is future. I will get. Manoratham. Whatever I desire, I will get. I will get. Whatever I desire, I will get. Idam asti. Idam api me bhavishyati. All these are mine. All those will also become mine. See, you have to buy one flat first. Then buy one more flat. Then buy a 50-80 bigger farmhouse in Bangalore. Or buy it 40 kilometers away. After some time you buy something here. Then you buy a penthouse. Then you buy this. You buy that. This is a journey we can make. Who said we can't make this journey? We can make this journey. Just take a... Hello? Yeah? Ramya, we'll talk later. I am in a class. I'll call you. Huh? I was wondering whether somebody said it's not coming or something. Anyway. So you acquire one, then you acquire second, you acquire the third, then you say this list is over, now let me start this. So you have your own list of, it's all about wealth, acquiring wealth. This shloka 16:13 says one of the preoccupation for people who seem to have a lot of Asuri Sampath is get enticed only about wealth. Spend all your time acquiring wealth somehow, multiply it, quadruple it, triple it. This investment is not all right, take it and put it on the other side. This is one attribute he is talking. Punardhanam. So it's all about money. Money will make more money. Money will make more money. That will make more money, and then I'll multiply this and make it that, and so on. So that is what he is talking about. He says it is Asuri Sampath. If that is what many of us are doing, let us go back and ask dispassionately what is being told here and what is the issue here. That's what he says. Idam adhyam maya labdam, idam prapsya manoratham. So you let your mind to desire whatever he wants to desire and then go after it. And in this journey, when one of the future shlokas are going to anyway say that, I mean, if you are so much controlled by the desire, getting into unfair means of making money is not at all difficult. Please understand. It's a very logical step. by hook or crook you get into, get some, bribes or corruption. Why is all that happening? Because of this sloka. We should put a value to how much wealth and what is this wealth. All these we will have to ask. So that is what he is saying in 13th sloka. Then 14th sloka. Asau maya hataha shatruhu hanishye cha aparanapi ishwaraha aham bogi siddhaha aham balavan sukhi. So in the second, so when you go after getting whatever you want to get, it's very easy to locate enemies, because this is not easy. You are setting yourself into a competition with a few others. So now you have to clean up all of them. Only then this journey will happen unhindered. If you want to make all this wealth, if somebody is in the way, you have to clear them away. So that is what the next sloka is all about. It says, Asau Shatruhu Maya Hataha. This fellow is coming in the way of doing it. I have now finished him off. I have finished him off, need not finish him off, I have cleared him off the way. It can also mean that he is coming in my way, I have cleared him on the way. Hanishyecha aparanapi. If some future people also come in the way, I will now put all my energy, I will develop skills to clear them also off the way. So that is what he says. Right now I have cleared all these, and even if people come, I know how to clear them. Some people are very tactful in that. I mean, we have enough experience, we have any examples of this which you can look around and reflect on. So he says, Hanishyecha aparanapi. If somebody comes in my way in this whole journey of making this wealth, in whatever the definition of wealth I have chosen to, I will sort them out. Now if you can do that, very soon you will come. This is what happened to Ravana. Ravana says, Aham. That's what happened to Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu said, Aham Ishwaraha. He said, I am the Lord. The whole story that Prahlada said, Narayana is the Lord, get lost, I am the Lord. Nobody can, in a very dramatic way that story is coming. The point is that Ahankara will blow. This feeling will become very strong. I am unstoppable. Nobody can stop me. Aham Ishwaraha. Aham Bogi. I can now enjoy because I have everything to enjoy. I will throw money. I know how to amass wealth. And see, I had long back, I had a person, a neighbor. That person every 5 months or 6 months, this is what I am saying is in 80s. Every 5 months or 6 months he will rebuild his bedroom at a cost of about 1 lakh plus. Initially I didn't understand. Then I understood that's all you can do with the black money. You cannot invest. You can again and again do things. You can throw the furniture and buy another furniture. That's the only way you can spend. So if that is the notion, is that even for that person, that notion of enjoyment will after a while will become a question mark. Phenomenal. Always, because we lived 7 years opposite. Initially it was a very I didn't understand what was happening. Then I thought this must be the only way it should happen. Otherwise, who is going to every 3 months, I am not exaggerating. Every 3 months they will change everything. They will redo the design, they will do some civil work, again paint and buy 2-3 cars will go, 2-3 cars will come. This was going on and on. Because that is what will happen. And the more and more you do, the thinking that I am the Lord, I am to enjoy, that feeling will all get stronger. That is what he is saying. Aham Ishwaraha, Aham Bogi. I have all the bogas to enjoy. And Aham Balavan. Don't think this Balavan is what Krishna said in chapter 7. Balam Balavata must be. That Bala is different. This Bala is different. This Bala is Dadagiri. You can put a Z category around you and feel very confident. You can't go alone. Because the moment you go, people will finish you up because you have created so many enemies around you. So this Balam is a different Balam. This is a physical Balam which is not inside. That is Mano Balam. That Balam he is talking about is the strength of the character. Here it is not strength of the character. It is all outsourced security guards around me. That's the meaning of this Balan, Sukhi. This notion of Sukha will be challenged by him or her. Nobody externally need to challenge. This path on which they are going, after a while they will challenge their own path because they will not find it interesting beyond a point. Anyway, he says, nobody can stop me. Anybody who comes in my way, I will clear. I will finish them off, and then future also I will clear the way. So I have all the wealth, nobody can stop me. I will enjoy. So I am the Lord. I now, I am what it is. That's what they think. So that's sloka, that this sloka is saying that people who have that feeling going on that journey are all asuras, according to Krishna, because they are all part of the asura culture which he is talking about. Then he says, Adyaha Abhijanavanasmi, Adyaha Abhijanavanasmi, Kaha Anyaha Asti Sadrisho Maya. He asks, who can be equal to me? That's the question he is asking. Because now I am all powerful, na? Yakshe dasyami modishya iti ajnana vimohitaha. So they develop a certain mental model about themselves because they think it's all about amazing wealth by hook or crook. If people come on the way, throw them off, clear, and whatever wealth you have acquired, how do you use it? Enjoy. Whatever that sense of enjoyment means, enjoy it. So once they have reached, they say, I become Adyaha. See, Adyaha, actual meaning of Adyaha is not rich actually in a money term. Adyaha is who has some special strengths. In the context of this story that is going, this special strength is only money. He is amazing wealth. So the Adyaha is rich, all books translated as rich because of that reason. It's all about amazing wealth. Therefore I am rich. You are not rich in your thought. You are not rich in your character. You are rich in money. That richness. So aham Adyaha aham Abhijanavanasmi. I have come from a well pedigree. That's a feeling I get because I think very superior of myself. Ahankara. I think I am the greatest person, so I am from a great lineage. I am, that kind of a feeling. So, kaha anyaha asti, konyo asti, kaha anyaha asti sadrishaha, mama sadrishaha, maya sadrishaha. Nobody is matched to me. This is the brim of the ahankar that this feeling will take. The more and more we do, we will get there. This is a very inevitable journey that we will get in. So, nobody is equal to me. Then, yakshe dasyami, I will give. I will give for what? To, further my ego, not for good causes, and we'll see it. All that he is saying actually later. Modishya, I will enjoy, I will rejoice. You take and rejoice, I'll give you. I just, throw you and then you take it. Iti ajnana vimohita. They are actually not in a domain of correct knowledge. This is a very short-circuited route. Very soon they will discover that it is going to be a major limitation on them. What appeared to be very interesting over a certain period of time, it won't. That's why they are vimohitaha. They are deluded. They don't have that correct understanding of reality. They don't have the correct understanding of the Purushartha, so they are completely deluded. So he says, Ajnana vimohitaha. They are ignorant and they are completely deluded, but they think they know the ultimate. This is a greatest recipe for disaster. And so that's why disaster happens. See, greatest recipe for disaster is, I don't know anything. I will not listen to anything, to anybody. But I think what I know is the ultimate truth. This is a recipe for disaster. All the three would join. If I don't know anything, if I have the humility to ask somebody, there is no recipe for disaster there. If I don't know anything and if I thumb the desk and say that is Brahma Satya and I will not listen to others, that's a perfect recipe for disaster. That is the mood which is being portrayed here. Because he says, who is equal to me? Na konyosti mama sadrisha maya sadrisha. That's what he is saying in 15th sloka. All the ahankar is all up to the brim, full. That is a great recipe for self-destruction. 16th sloka. Aneka chitta vibrantaha moha jala samavritaha prasaktaha kamabogeshu patanti narake ashucho. Now Krishna starts saying, so far he described what are all these people. Now he says, where will they land up finally? So far it is only saying what will they do, what is their lifestyle, what is their approach to life, what are their assumptions about good life. All that he said up to 15th sloka. Now he is saying, if they go on that path, where will they go? What will happen to them? So he says, Aneka chitta vibrantaha. They will be a very confused lot. Because this desire is a very nice thing to start. Actually, desire appears to be a very nice thing to start. But if you let this desire to grow and grow and grow, it will actually eat you. That's why it said, Kamona taptaha vayameva taptaha. Bhogana bhokta vayameva bhokta. In Vairagya Shataka, I showed that. These bhoga and all are very nice. You start. After some time, you will be eaten. Because you are very confused. You don't know. You are so distracted. We are so much distracted, we don't know what we want. That is what he says, Aneka chitta vibrantaha. Their mind is all a confused lot. It's all really confused because you let this desire go unchecked, it will do its job. You will be really, it's like letting these 5 horses without the charioteer holding the reins. Now it will go helter-skelter. This chariot will be completely destroyed. The person who is sitting there will disappear. That is what will happen. That's why he says, Aneka chitta vibrantaha. Moha jala samavrta. Jala is net. See, the Sanskrit word for internet is jala puta. That's the word we use. Because jala means net. Right? Net page. Puta is page. Jala puta is the word for Sanskrit. In Sanskrit we use jala puta for web pages. Jala is actually net. So it's a very nice usage there. You know what is the property of this net? Net has 2 important properties. First of all, it constrains your movement. It catches you. It catches you and then it constrains your movement also. The catching part is an intention part of it, but the restricted movement is the property of it. Correct? Whatever you do, that's all. If you catch a fish, the fish is stuck there. So by using the word jala, moha jala, he says you are actually walking into a mouse trap. That's what Krishna is trying to suggest with this word. Moha jala. He says moha jala is like a mouse trap. You are walking into it unwittingly. Once the door is closed, you can keep going inside. That's all. Nothing more than that. In other words, that is what you will find after a while. That it becomes uninteresting and it leaves a certain kind of that is why some of these people who are all huge desire oriented, you just see in a very young age they commit suicide. 30, 40 they commit suicide. There are many people like that. If you look at some of these descriptions will actually match, because they say this is what goes in their mind. They are very agitated at the end of the day. They are stuck. They are stuck at a dead end. This journey which started interesting, they get stuck at a dead end. That is why they, do Atmahatya, because they don't know what to do. Because they are in this net now. That is what some of the stories, if you see, you will find. An unchecked desire can be a very risky thing, because it can lead to a net. Quickly come, because they are very empty and they are very disappointed and they don't know what to do. They just finish themselves. Many things you can see. That's why, moha jala samavritaha. Prasaktaha kama bogeshu. They are well established in this kama and boga, which is what that net is. Moha, kama and boga are nothing but the strands of the net, which is catching. It's a mouse trap laid. Unknowingly the limitations of that, they are kama bogeshu prasaktaha. They are deeply entrenched in this world of desire and enjoyment. They are deeply in the world of desire and enjoyment. And so what will happen? Patanti, they fall. Narake. Now again, Naraka, in all these movies, they show some very nice, these are all to be understood as important principles which must appeal us. Naraka is a concept which says when you do bad things, you pay for it. How do you pay? Leave all those details. The cardinal principle of Naraka as a concept is, if you go unchecked, don't think you go unchecked, there is a check somewhere. That check terminology is called Naraka. The details are whether you are put in an oil, pan and fried or all. I'm not very impressed, or I don't have to worry too much about those details. But there is a concept called Naraka. Naraka says you cannot run away from your evil acts. You have to pay for it. So, narake, ashuchau narake patanti means they will not run away, they will not pay for it. They can't go anywhere. They will have to pay for it. So that's what he says, that it is not unchecked one-way traffic. When you do wrong things, you will have to collect whatever you need to collect on account of it. So that is what is being conveyed here by saying patanti narake ashuchau. It's all unclean. In other words, you have to start paying for it. How can you run away? There is no way you can run away. And if there is a way by which you can get away with anything, see these Semitic religions, their biggest problem saying no reincarnation is very illogical, no? It's hugely illogical. Illogical is 2 counts. First count is you can get away with murder. That is illogical. Because if you given only one, if every one of us are told we are given only one chance, the motivation to behave ethically and morally is very little, na? Why should I? So to me it is very illogical. So by logic that framework should be wrong. Because if that logic is true, there is very little motivation for me to actually be ethical and moral, because I will not be caught, no? Whereas if it is a reincarnation, it's just one snapshot. You cannot run away from anywhere.
Even they have that judgment day.
So I am coming to that. So this is the first illogic. So you sidestep this, but their framework is that after that you are eternally condemned into heaven or into evil. That's also illogical. You should give me a chance, no? In a small game you are given a second chance here. This is a big game. Please give me a break. Give me one more chance. So in any way, this is logical. In other words, this is more logical, more foolproof. That's why I am very, very convinced of this idea. That otherwise there is no motivation for me to behave very ethically. If we inherently behave ethically, that means we have these long janmas of experience which are coming with us. That's why we are behaving like that. We have learnt our experiences. That's why we are behaving. Otherwise, why are we behaving? You can run away, no? Because it's only one chance. Then it goes on to say, Atma Sambhavitaha Stabdaha Dana Mana Madanvitaha Yajante Nama Yajnaihi Te Dambena Avidi Purvakam. For the second sentence, I am seeing plenty today. The second sentence says, Yajante, they do yajna. And what is that? For namesake, Nama Yajna. For namesake. In fact, I have seen some yajnas in Madras. They bring gunny sacks of red chili. There is no Vedic pratyankara, something they say. The kind of things they come and put in Ahuti, nowhere it is allowed. Nowhere it is allowed. Nowhere. The kind of today's yajnas, put this Shankara TV, Asta, you find all kinds of people will tell you all kinds of things that can be done. With new names they are coming and so on. That is what is being talked about here. Nama Yajnaihi. For the sake of yajna, why this word Nama Yajnaihi comes? If you look at our Vedic literature has 2 components. The Purva Bhaga and the Uttara Bhaga. The Karma Kanda and the Jnana Kanda. Purva Mimamsa and the Uttara Mimamsa. There are different terms like this. The front part talks about yajna, where you are desirous of something. Sakamya. You want something. You want good family. You want good offsprings. You want wealth. You can do yajna. Veda never said you can't do yajna. But it is strictly under what is called vidhi and nisheda. There are strict do's and don'ts. Particularly if you do a kamya yajna, I want to do for achieving something, then vidhi and nisheda will very strongly apply. Now today what is happening? Several mutts are printing brochures. It says Kubera Lakshmi Yajna. Now if you want to become a Kubera Lakshmi, which is perfectly alright, you will never be able to get it by sending money by brochure on a letter saying this is my Gotra, this is my Nakshatra, please do my Yajna. Kubera will never come. I can thumb the desk and tell you, please tell me, can you ask somebody else to write an exam and get you your M.Tech degree? We still don't. There are some universities which are spuriously doing. I am not talking about them. But normally it is not possible. That's what I am saying. So it is like saying, I will pay you 1,000 rupees, you will sit in the exam hall and then write the exam and get me the degree. I mean, you laugh at it. cannot be done like that. So I am not very enamored by these things. If you want Kubera Lakshmi Yajna, there is a Vidhi and Nisheda you have to do. All others are called Nama Yajna. That's what it is. I mean, I see too much of that happening today. I think Yajnas are very important, Yajnas are very good, but the Yajamana and the Adhikari, there is a do's and don'ts, you have to very strictly follow and do it. It will give the effect. Otherwise, I don't know what are we doing. Maybe we are helping something which is fine. But don't have these imagination. Then the Ashraddha develops. They say it is not happening. It will not happen. It's a very different framework completely. So these people are Yajante Nama Yajnaihi Dambena, just for Dambachara. They just, I must give several examples. We'll lose a lot of time. I have actually stopped attending most of, I get invitations for Upanayana, this thread ceremony, Since I am a Brahmin, there are so many relatives, friends who are all in my community, they said, I almost stopped. Because I am aghast by what I see. Actually this idea came when I actually attended a few such Upanayana ceremony. See, the word Upanayana, Upa means closer. In Sanskrit, the prefix Upa means closer. Upanishad is only taking us closer to the ultimate reality. Upa, Nayanam is taking. So Upanayana is a function through which an individual is taken closer to the ultimate truth. That is a ritual. That is what it is. I have attended Upanayana in which the ritual is all done in about 15-20 minutes. Purohit was given money and then the place was cleared. Then they have a 2 lakh rupee reception in the evening. Solid. Evening that fellow must be doing actually what is called Samhita Dana. If you Vidhi and Nisheda are there. If you have a thread, in fact in this locality I offered some of my relatives, because initially I was a little upset, so I told them, you know what happened? This child was given this thread. Nobody tells this child what to do after that. That Purohit also is in great hurry, he will do one Sandhya Vandana, something he will run away. So what I offered was, I said for 15 days I am willing to teach. Send your child, I will adjust my work. 3 times I will teach 15 days. The student 4 or 5 I taught. Now one boy I went 3 years back, he was doing. Last year I go also check. But if the father is not doing, these are all, what is called leading by example. No? That's what in chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita we saw. Yadyad acharati sresha tadadeva etre janaha. So these are all dambena. So today all these Vedic rituals are done with a great degree of dambachara. There is very little purity with which people are doing. That's what he is talking. There is a lot of rajasic feeling many of us have. There is a lot of Asuri values we have acquired. It is all damba. Avidhi purvakam. That's what he is saying. Dambena avidhi purvakam. If dambachara comes, vidhi will go. They don't stay together. That's why he used the word together. Dambena avidhi purvakam yajante nama yajnaihi. Atma sambhavitaha. They think very high of themselves. Right? Stabdaha, very haughty. And dana, mana and mada. They are inebriated. They are all these we saw, amanitum, adambitum, ahimsa, kshanti, rajam, we saw in chapter 13. They are all coming the other way. The reverse of that are coming here. Even the 26 values at the beginning of this also we saw. These are all the mirror image of that. That's what he's saying in 17th shloka. Ahankaram, balam, darpam, kamam, krodam cha samshitaha. Mam atma paradeheshu pradvishantaha abhyasuyakaha. So what happens to these people? They are all bundle of ahankar, bundle of bala, darpa. Darpa is propensity to do wrong things, insolence, right? Krodha, anger overpowers them. They are all embodiment of that, because this ahankara builds all of that. He says mom, when he says mom, this ultimate God, whenever Krishna uses mom after chapter 4, you should understand it only as ultimate God, not this Krishna as a character. And mom, they don't see me in their own, they don't see in others also. Aparadeheshu. Not only in me, I am everywhere. They are not able to see, and they even, look down upon on such ideas. And they are asuyaha, abhyasuyaha, asuyakaha. See, asuya means, it's very simple. if something good happens to you, I am gone. See, if you are very good, you have a great knowledge, you are very good, two things can happen to me. I can say, good, God has been kind to him, this person is so kind-hearted, he has learnt very well. That's one response we can have. Another response I have is, if you are good, then I am gone. I have to say something and then take that goodness out of you. If you are good, I will go and tell, this fellow is very bad, he appears to be good. This is called asuya. They don't like the goodness of others and they put effort to somehow destroy it because they can't tolerate. Intolerance to the goodness of others is called asuya actually. So these people develop that because why is it happening? Because my ahankara, na? Nobody can stop me, nobody is like me. When you are saying it, how can I say somebody is good? I'll have to discount the whole humanity. That's what Ravana did, that's what Hiranyakashipu did, everybody did that. They discounted the whole humanity. They said, there is nobody, I am the only person. So they can't tolerate. When Prahlada came and said Narayana is great, he was burning. It's all, he went Mada and Dana, Mada, all that happened. All that will happen. That's what he says. Such people will develop that over a period of time. Then he says, what will I do to these people? They are going unchecked. So there is this Adharmic order. There is this stability in the world. There is an invisible hand in the world, which is called, that ultimate force. So how will that ultimate force respond? So the next 4 slokas say what will happen. They can't go unchecked like that. What will happen to them? Say, Stan, such people. Tan aham dvishataha kruran samsareshu naradaman kshipami ajasram ashubam ashubanam asurishu eva yonishu. He says, what I will do? I will take these fellows, right? And kruran, these people are, and see all the adjectives. Tan kruran naradaman. Adama is the lowest. Naradaman is lowest. Naranam Adaman. These people are the lowest in this pecking order of human being. They don't have really humanity in them. They have only ahankar. So I pick these people who are really in the lowest pecking order because the kind of acts they are doing is not anything which is conducive to the great world order to remain. So what I will do? Kshipami. I throw them. In other words, I put them. Kshipami ajasram, again and again, not once. I will put them again and again. Where? Ashuban, Asurishu Yonishu. I will put them, I make them more asuras only. Because I want them to get enough. First of all, they should go through all the pains. For the pain that they inflicted, they have to get back. So if I put them in Asuran, they will go to Naraka. I have already put another path for them. I will put them in Asuran, again one more stretch for Naraka. Because that's what the earlier sloka is said. So again and again I will put them, because first they have to pay back for what they did. Secondly, out of that they will get the experience, this is not what it is. It is only experience which teaches. Nothing else can teach. You have to hit against the wall and then 100 times you hit. For some it is 20, for some it is 100, for some it is million. But then that's the only way. It is only experience which teaches. So I will put them in Asura Yoni again. Put them in, cast them to be Asura again, let them come through that. That's what he says in this shloka. Asurim yonim apannaha mudaha janmani janmani. Again and again, every janma they will become asuras and mudas, because that is what I have thrown them. Mam aprapya eva kaunteya tato yanti adamam gatim. So I throw them back into this. They will not appreciate this larger principle. So again they go down. Then the more and more the pains they go through. See, there is a very nice story. It's a very jovial story. I think it is in Bhagavatam. I think it is in Bhagavatam. Krishna goes with Narada, or Vishnu goes with Narada. He goes to a very pious person, very nice person, very ethical, moral, very poor. He just has one cow. That's all. All his whatever he can do is because of that cow. So he goes. So Vishnu says, and he is a great bhakta of Vishnu. See, he goes to this person and he says, I am Mahavishnu. I have come. So this man was all ecstasy. So of course he had nothing. So he could get a little milk which he had. He offered it to him. He said, I am not able to offer you anything. This is all I have. He offered to him. And then he didn't have even, he had a very torn something. He gave him, you please, rest on this. So that night, Vishnu stayed, right? And next day morning, he bid goodbye to this pious person, and he murmured something, and as Ashirvada, he murmured something, which Narada didn't hear. Over. Then they go to another place. In that another place, there is a very wealthy fellow who is also says he is a bhakta of Vishnu. So this Vishnu and Narada goes there. Vishnu says, Vishnu have come. So this bhakta is very happy. So he offers, he starts calculating. Now Vishnu has come. We have to take the hell out and get the maximum out of him. So whatever he offers is not with that. And this is all the story. Whatever he offers, but very calculative. But maximize the benefit, if I have to use a management term or something like that. You give him, but make sure that he will appear to be happy, but you have not spent too much. So give him a bed, but then you can be more comfortable, but he will feel comfortable. Not offer your heart and yourself to him. So like that, the story goes on like that. He stays overnight, and then next day morning when he gets up, he says goodbye, and he gives an Ashirvada. So this time he loudly says, let you have more wealth. And more and more of wealth. He blesses him with more wealth. And Narada is very curious now. He asks, what did you actually tell to that other person? So Vishnu said, what I told to the other person is, let the cow die. That's all is my Ashirwad. So Narada is very upset. He said, this fellow is a kamchor, and you are giving him more and more wealth, and he was so genuine. And his only means of survival was that cow, and you have blessed him that let the cow die. So Vishnu says, yes, I want him to enjoy more and more wealth, and then he has a lot of vasanas, he has to go through a lot of pain, let him go through the pain. That's why I bless him more. So don't think asking more wealth is a great idea. That's what this story is all about. He says, I will give him more wealth, because if you have more wealth, sooner or later you will start enjoying. Kama, Bhoga, all those will come. He said, that's right. Then why did you do that? He said, he is 99.99% he is with me. Because of that cow, that 0.01%, he thinks he doesn't have to depend on me. I take that, he will surrender unto me. I will lift him. That is the story there. So the point is that, you have to giving more and more wealth. So this Asuri Sampath will be give him more opportunity to make mischief. He will, go through that and come one day. He will exhaust that vasana. So that is the meaning of that story is meant for that. So it is all about saying God's ways of thinking can be a little different. Is what that story is all about. So he says they will again and again and go Adhamam Gatim, and all the way they will have to come back. Then the last 4 slokas are therefore the moral of the story. So far we have looked at, in a nutshell, Devi Sampath, just 3 slokas. And then about 18 slokas, only Asuri Sampath in great detail. Now the question is, what is the moral of the story? Therefore, that's how the chapter ends with 4 slokas. So, Trividam Narakasyedam Dwaram Nashanam Atmanaha Kama Krodha Tata Lobaha Tasmad Etatrayam Tyajet. So Krishna says Trividam Dwaram. Dwaram is door, na? Mukhya Dwara is main door. So Trividam Dwaram. There are 3 doors. For what? Narakasya. He says there are 3 doors you can open to go to Naraka. That's what he says. Trividam Narakasyedam Dwaram. And what will happen? Nashanam Atmanaha. It will only destroy your character. If you open the door and go, your Vyaktitva will go. You think you are enjoying, but you will lose your character. Your strength of your character and your journey will be stalled. Nashanam Atmanaha. And what are those? Kama and Krodha and Lobha. He says there are 3 gates. If you open any one of these, in some of these games also, you can open any one of the gate and then go to the other side. No? So like that. Kama, Krodha and Lobha are the 3 gates for hell. And it will destroy you. Therefore, Tasmat. etat trayam, all these three, tyajet, avoid. So the story he tells at the end of the day is, don't get into the sway of kama, krodha and lobha. See, kama and krodha are always inseparable. If I want something, then anger is inevitable, because there may be obstructions, I get angry. I don't get, I get even more angry. That will become moha. If I want something, if I don't get, I will get angry. And I'll get infatuated. Even more, infatuation will happen. It's moha. It will become even deeper, and the anger force can increase even more. So kama and krodha are actually two sides of the same coin. Never think that, kama and krodha are separate. They are the same. It is only popping up in different occasions in different ways. If you have kama, you will have krodha. If you have krodha, that means you have kama. Both are linked to one another. This lobha is even more dangerous. Swami Dayananda Saraswati, I was reading his Gita handbook, home study. So he gives two definitions for lobha. This greed, he says, is even more dangerous. See, greed is if there are things with which you can manage. There are things with which you can manage. There are certain things you don't need. You can manage with this. You go for that. He says that is greed. That is one definition he gives for greed. When you can manage with this, you go for something which is, a personal stretch goal for desire. Personal stretch goal for desire, if I have to use a word like that. He says that is greed. He says that will bring greed. Another thing, when this kama goes to such a level that you violate principles of dharma and then engage into the kama, he says that is another definition of greed. So this is even a stronger force which can create more and more propensity for us to do evil. That's why but chapter 3, atakkena prayuktoyam papam charati purushah anichanapi varshneya baladiva niyojitah. There is a 36th shloka. Why am I becoming a victim of situation? Anichanapi varshneya baladiva niyojitah. Somebody has pushed me into the situation. Papam charati purushah. Kena prayuktah ayam purushah papam charati. For which he gave an answer. Kama yesha krodha yesha rajoguna samudbhavaha. Maha papma, asti paripantinav. Mahashna mahapapma vidhi iha vairinam. That is that shloka. So this is described even there itself. Throughout he says kama and krodha, be very careful. It will create a greater propensity for you to do evil. That's why he said, rajoguna samudbhavaha mahapapma mahashna vidhi iha vairinam. They are your greatest enemies, he said in chapter 3 itself. That's what he is saying here. So he says, Yeter vimuktaha kaunteya, one who has liberated from the clutches of these three. Because tamodwaraihi tribihi naraha. So these are the three gates for tamas. He says, these three will only bring more tamoguna in you. Your sense of discrimination will go. You will not see the reality as you are actually explaining. So these are the gates for tamoguna. So he has linked the guna into this shloka here. So yetaihi vimuktaha kaunteya tamadwaraihi tribihi naraha acharati atmanaha shreyaha tato yati param gatim. The only way you can go up in your life, go up in terms of your character, in terms of your vyaktitva, in terms of your evolution in life, will happen only when you are able to liberate yourself from the clutches of these three, which is kama, krodha and lobha. So that is what he says. If somebody can do it, he will acharati atmanaha, practice it in the heart very seriously, an ability by which they can get out of this. He says tato yanti. From there, because of that, param gatim, you will really reach higher planes of your existence, which is what we are all trying hard for. So that's what he says that we should do. And he ends with two more shlokas. He says, Yaha shastra vidim utsrajya vartate kamakaratah na saha siddhim avapnoti na sukham na param gatim. If you violate shastra, if you don't follow shastra, Shastra is a body of do's and don'ts. There are certain things you do it like it is a good principle of dharma. That's why Shastraya cha Sukaya cha. That's what they say. Follow Shastra, you will be very healthy. It will be good for you. Mentally you will be good. Mental peace will be there. Physical health will be there. That's why Shastraya cha Sukaya cha. That's what people say. Here he says, yeah, that person, Shastra Vidim Usrajya, casting away the Shastra, violating the Shastra, Nama Yajna, like Nama Yajna. You do, nothing to do with prescription. Whatever you want to do, you do out of Damba and all that. So, yaha Shastram Vidim Usrajya Vartate Kamakaratah, just out of desire, he cuts shortcuts, violates the rules, violates all principles. Don't have worry about dharma. Why? Kamakaratah. He says they get nothing. Na saha siddhim. He is not an accomplished person. Please understand, he will be a defeated person in his life at the end of the day. The final judgment day, if there is one, he will be a defeated person. That's what he says. Na siddhim avapnoti. Na sukham. He will not get peace of mind also. Peace of mind is not guaranteed. There is no guarantee. If it comes out of accident, but no guarantee. Na sukham, na param gatim. You will not evolve yourself to higher planes. He says, Tasmat, therefore, Shastram pramanam te, karya, akarya vyavastito. What can be done, what should not be done? Is it a right way to do? Is it not the way to do? Is it appropriate? Is it inappropriate? For all that, keep Shastra as the pramana. Our ancestors have laid some nice broad principles. Keep them as pramana. They are the ultimate reference, code of reference for you. Jnatva shastra videna uktam karma kartum arhasi. Please engage in this world of activities. He tells to Arjuna. You know why he is saying all this? The biggest shastra for a king, when adharma happens, father, grandfather and all later, the job of a king is to restore dharma. If a king is not restoring the dharma, bringing emotions and all that, first of all, that king is very low in his character. Number two, that king is violated Shastra. That is why all these he is saying. This is a problem Arjuna is going through. He meekly surrendered to the emotion. His job, you can't, see, a small, lowermost level person can come to the, battlefield. I can say, oh, it's very fearsome, I'll run away. Tell me, can the commander-in-chief, the chief of the three armies, there is a India-Pakistan war, they come there and say, oh, this is just too much here. So many people will be killed. No. When I put a bomb, one innocent child will die. It will happen. That's why there is one nice shloka. In order to save a family, one person can be sacrificed. There's a nice Shubhashita like that. In order to sacrifice a grama, one family can be sacrificed. In order to save a country, one grama can be sacrificed. These are all dharma principles. So Arjuna has no business to run away. The commander-in-chief cannot say, some people will die, actually they are innocents. Terrorists cannot be killed. Lots of people saying all that now. Terrorists cannot be killed because when you kill a terrorist, one fellow will die. It will, but at least it will stop now. At least it will endlessly go and it will boomerang and eat the system. So Shastra Pramana, it's very important that we follow rules. Shastra is a broad set of rules, golden rules which we must follow. And what can be done, what cannot be done. For this Indian Sanatana Dharma, let me tell you, for us Shastra is the Pramana, Shruti is the Pramana. If we are in doubt, we should go back to Shruti and Shastra, the Upanishads and the Shastra. We have actually put them at the back burner. This Sanatana Dharma's bedrock is there. So that's what he is saying here. Jnatva Shastram Vidina Vuktam. What has been told in the Shastra, please adhere, because there is a lot of broader principle, wisdom which has gone behind it. Please make use of it. Karma kartum iha arhasi. Now, please do work. Again and again, in a very subtle way, Krishna is reminding Arjuna, you are actually trying to run away from what you are supposed to do. You should not have been the king in the first place. If you are so emotional, you should have become a cavalry, one horse rider. He can go. One horse rider can say, this is too much for me, let me go away. That nothing will happen. But if a head of a country goes like that, you are in a great danger. Great danger of creating, particularly when the other side is wrong in every stretch of imagination. That is the issue. In a contextual example I am giving, even in the Gita. But the thing is, I think Shastra is the pramana. Krishna wants to say that. And too much of Asuri Sampath, too much of this Asuric and Rakshasic feeling will actually make us look for shortcuts, think that money is all that is important. Everything can be sorted out with money. We can build ahankara, we can, violate anything. I have money to buy anything. This is a certain paradigm which is coming, which is what is being explained in great detail in this chapter. That's why this chapter is not a notional chapter. It is a chapter which reflects on a certain reality which seems to exist from time to time. So in Dwapara Yuga it has happened. It would have happened in Krita Yuga, it would have happened in Satya Yuga anyway. The only thing is the proportions may be a little bit here and there, but the fact is these are the facts. So these texts are all not ivory tower fancy ideas. They also capture a lot of reality. That's why I think this chapter is very important. So with that we will close this chapter. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishnarjuna Samvade Daiva Asura Sampath Vibhaga Yogo Nama Shodashodhyaya. The next chapter is Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. That's also a nice chapter. With that, actually Bhagavad Gita comes to an end. 18th chapter is again a summary of all these. Next week we will not have a class. I think we will meet the week after next. I will also, Narayanan will put an email or something, but for the benefit of those who have come here, we will not have a class next week. Thank you.